Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture on DC motor drives. The objectives of this lecture are to understand operation of single phase semi-converter fed separately excited DC motor drive, then to understand operation of single phase full converter fed separately excited DC motor drive. So let's get started. We will understand, let us take an overview of single phase separately excited DC motor drive. This motor has got two parts. First one is called as armature part. So these are the armature side sections. Armature terminals are named as A1, A2, and field part are named as F1 and F2. Both armature and fields are supplied by DC supplies. So here in single phase separately excited DC motor drive, our input is single phase AC supply. It is to be converted into this DC voltage for armature side voltage EA, and we have one more voltage required on field side VF. As we know that in order to control the speed of this motor, we must know the equations of speed. So we derived few equations, and in that we understood that the speed of separately excited DC motor is proportional to the armature voltage VA and is inversely proportional to the flux phi F or field current IF. In order to control the speed by armature control, we need variable voltage on armature side, and to control the speed with field control, we need variable voltage on field side to control field current. And depending on your requirement, whether you want one quadrant operation, one can go with semi converter, or depending on two quadrant operation, one can go with single phase full converter fed drives. So let us start with single phase semi converter fed drive. This drive consists of semi converter on armature side. So this is a converter. This converter is armature side converter, and we have one more converter to generate field voltage on field side. Normally this converter can be uncontrolled rectifier or it can be controlled rectifier. This converter will play important part whenever field direction has to be made reversed. On armature side converter, you can see that it is a single phase semi converter, consists of two thyristors T1, T2 and two diodes D1, D2. When input is positive, this T1 and D2 are forward biased. When input is negative, this T2 and D1 are forward biased. Now let us understand how can we get the DC voltage from AC supply, and how can we control the speed of this motor using armature control. So for this method, we will be controlling the firing angle of switches T1 and T2 in positive and negative half respectively. So let us understand the operation. When input is positive, so we will divide the operation in two parts. When input is positive, so if we draw the waveform, we can see that during positive half and negative half, what will happen. So right now during positive half, this input voltage is positive here, and here this T1 is forward biased. If we apply the gate pulse to this device at certain angle alpha, let's say we will be applying that gate pulse at this angle alpha, so we'll be applying the gate pulse at alpha to T1. So from alpha to pi, current will start flowing from this negative positive terminal of input supply to T1. Through T1 it goes into the load, and through the load it again comes back to the output side. On this output side, we will indicate this current as output current IO or IA, armature current, and through this motor this current is again going into the through the D2 into the supply side. So during positive half, we can simply say that T1 and D2 are conducting, they are carrying power from source to the load. This operation is called as motoring mode, and during this case output voltage, if we measure the output voltage, instantaneous output voltage will be equals to instantaneous input voltage. Here supply current is flowing in this direction, so we will indicate this direction as this current as IS here. So supply current is flowing in this direction. So supply current is positive here, and same current is flowing through the output side. So we can say that for alpha to pi duration, supply current and output current both are same. So we can write this instantaneous values of supply current and output current, that is IA and ISR, and power is flowing from source to the. Now at pi here, supply will change its polarity, and due to that this T1 and D2 will become reverse biased and they will stop conducting. During this time interval alpha to pi, inductor has stored the energy with this polarity, positive and negative polarity, and inductor current is increasing exponentially. So here you can see that here current is increasing exponentially. The output voltage is for this time period alpha to pi, because T1 and D2 has conducted. At pi, T1 and D2 will turn off, and due to this supply will be disconnected from load, so load current will try to decrease here. But as we know that this load current is nothing but current flowing through the winding of DC motor, and as you know that the inductive load won't allow sudden change in current. For that it induces an EMF. Here this inductor will change its polarity at pi, and from pi to pi plus duration no devices are conducting because gate pulse to T2 is applied at pi plus alpha. So during pi to pi plus duration, because of this inductive voltage, this diode DF has become forward biased. Now let us understand what happens when diode DF becomes forward biased. So this change polarity will act as source now, and current will start flowing in this direction, and now this diode will be forward biased. In this time, entire this part is isolated from this load side. So if you observe the output voltage EA here, that will be nothing but voltage across the diode, that will be 0, and here the load energy is traveling through this diode DF into the load itself, that is providing a kinetic energy to the load, and output current is non-zero. So output current is, that is IA, is non-zero, so this current is flowing continuously, and the output voltage is 0. So this mode is called as freewheeling mode, and diode DF is called as freewheeling diode. So this current is flowing into this load side. As the at pi plus alpha, at this interval pi plus alpha, the gate pulse will be applied to T2. So T2 and D1 will start conducting from this pi plus alpha duration to 2 pi duration. So in this case the supply will have its negative polarity, so supply current will start flowing in this direction now. So supply current is flowing in opposite direction. We will indicate this direction as IS here, through T2, then through this it goes into the load side, and after that again it comes to the load side. On load side it becomes IA, and through the load it again comes to this D1, and through D1 it goes back to the supply. So during this case we still get positive voltage, so power is again flowing from source to the load. Now at pi, this T2 and D1 will again turn off due to natural commutation, and T1 D2 will become forward biased, but gate pulse to them will be applied at 2 pi plus alpha duration here. So during this time period 2 pi plus alpha, till that time period 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, freewheeling action will take place. Again inductor will change its polarity and inductor will freewheel the energy through load itself. So this freewheeling action will take place. So if we summarize the operation, we can see that from 0 to alpha no devices are conducting. From alpha to pi T1 D2 are conducting. Here inductor stores the energy and inductor current increases. During this case output voltage is equals to this Vm sin omega t, and power is flowing from source to the load. And from pi to pi plus alpha freewheeling action takes place. Here diode DF starts conducting and load voltage is 0 but current is non-zero. So current is freewheeling through the load itself. At pi plus alpha T2 and D1 are conducting. Again power is flowing from source to the load. This current will again increase exponentially, armature current, and at this 2 pi interval T2 and D1 will turn off and freewheeling takes place through diode DF. So voltage across it is 0 and power is flowing in the load itself. So load voltage will be 0. If we observe two parameters, the average output voltage will be positive here, EA is positive here, and if we assume load is highly inductive load, the nature of this current is continuous. And if you observe supply current, you can see that when T1 D1 conduct, the output current is nothing but input current. So supply current is positive here and its instantaneous value is equals to this current. From pi to pi plus alpha, supply is isolated from input, that's why no supply current is flowing, so it is 0. After that, when T2 D2 conducts, supply current is equals to output current, but supply current flows in opposite direction. So here you can observe that we get the DC voltage from AC voltage, and by changing the firing angle alpha we can change the average output voltage. Here current is continuous current. And one more thing, power, if you find the instantaneous power, it will be a product of voltage and current is positive. That means power is only flowing from source to the load. There is no possibility of making power negative because direction of current cannot be changed, and here the voltage cannot be made negative. So power is only flowing from source to the load. And if we find the average value of this output voltage and current, so if we draw this one quadrant graph, you can see that average output voltage will be positive here, that will be somewhere here, it will be positive. If we indicate it as average value, capital EA indicates average value and small ea indicates instantaneous value. And if you find the average current, it will be also positive here. So our converter drive will operate in this quadrant, first quadrant. That means power will only flow from source to the load. So this offers us one quadrant operation. Now let us understand the operation for discontinuous armature current. Here, if the load is having low inductance, we will get discontinuous operation. So operation is similar to previous one. So one can see that if the load is not highly inductive load, current will be discontinuous here. From alpha to pi, T1 D2 will start conducting here. and the output voltage is nothing but input voltage, which is positive here, Vm sin omega t. At pi, T1 D2 will turn off, so prevailing action will take place here. So here diode DF will come into the picture, but as the load is not highly inductive load, so load will not be able to keep this current continuous. It should happen in this way, but instead this current will decay here itself before pi plus alpha. That means next thyristor T2 is fired. So here we will get this output voltage as 0, and output current will also become 0. So there will be a discontinuity in the current. And during this case, the average output, the voltage across the load will be nothing but back EMF. So EB will be seen across it. So here you can see the back EMF will be seen across the load. So this voltage is highlighted here. After that, we are turning on T2 and D1 is conducting. So again T2 D1 conducts from pi plus alpha to 2 pi. Again power is flowing from source to the load. We get positive part of in the output. So power will flow in from source to load. At 2 pi, these two devices will again turn off. So freewheeling will take place. So this current will kept in positive half cycle, but due to discontinuous or low value of inductor, it will become 0 at this point, and we will get this discontinuous current. So when current becomes 0, there no device are conducting, so the voltage across the load will be nothing but EB. So this EB will be again seen at this interval. And back to this, you can see that there has to be a back EMF. So we can simply say that when T1 D1 are conducting, when T1 and D2 are conducting, power flows from source to the load. At pi, they turn off. They turn off, and from alpha to pi, and if you observe supply current is continuous, discontinuous. Supply current is alternating current. So this is called as discontinuous operation. Now next part is torque speed characteristics of this drive. So ideally for DC motors, the relation between torque and speed is like this: up to rated values. If you draw the graph of this speed, if I take speed on this y-axis n and torque on x-axis, torque is in Newton meter and speed is in RPM. If we put more load on the motor, if we increase the torque, ideally the DC motor is said as constant speed motor. So ideally for any torque, its speed should not change. So this is ideal graph. Up to rated value, but practically we don't get this result. So there is a practical result in this way. So logically we can say that DC motor are constant speed motors up to rated value. The torque decreases by 2 or 3%, but that difference is negligible. So practically you can see that there is a small decrease, but if we avoid that, DC motors are called as constant speed motors within rated ranges. So this is a practical graph. So here one can see that as we increase the torque, there is a very less effect on to the speed. Now second parameter, if we have to increase the speed, we should keep firing angle minimum. So when firing angle is minimum, RMS average output voltage is maximum on armature side, and as we know that this speed is a function of armature voltage, and armature voltage is a function of firing angle alpha. So when firing angle is minimum, output is maximum. So to get maximum speed, let's say here 2000 rpm, we should keep firing angle alpha 0, and as we increase the torque here, there is very low effect in the speed. So we can see that speed is not decreasing drastically. It may be it may decrease by 2 or 3%. Similarly, if we decrease the firing angle alpha, we will get lesser speed, and if we increase torque load again, the torque will remain fairly constant. If we decrease alpha, speed will decrease. At alpha equals to 90 degree, you can see that speed has reduced by 50% because average armature voltage will reach to 50%. So to get minimum speed, we should keep alpha maximum. So here if you keep alpha maximum 180 degree, close to 180 degree, our speed will be 0 rpm. So this is torque speed characteristics of separately excited DC motor. Now let us go through some mathematical equation. Here speed of this motor is N, that is proportional to the armature voltage EA minus IaRa upon K into phi, where if we neglect IaRa loss, we can drop this. So we can simply say that speed will be proportional to EA and it will be inversely proportional to flux phi. So here we are going with armature control, so we will vary only armature voltage. So the armature voltage of this semi converter will be given as Em by pi into 1 plus cos of alpha, where Em is nothing but peak value of input voltage. If we keep alpha is equals to 0, the armature voltage will be maximum and we get maximum speed. If we keep alpha maximum, that is 180 degree, we will get minimum voltage. So EA or VA and speed will be minimum. That means the effect of firing angle is, by varying firing angle from 0 to 180 degree, you can increase the speed from maximum to minimum. So in this lecture we have understood operation of separately excited DC motor using single phase semi converter for continuous and discontinuous mode operation, and we understood that by controlling the armature voltage, we can control the speed of separately excited DC motor. If firing angle is minimum, speed is maximum, and if firing angle is maximum, speed is minimum. That means by varying firing angle from 0 to 180 degree, one can vary the speed from maximum to minimum. This is how we can achieve variable speed operation with semi converter fed separately excited DC motor drive. And one more point, we understood that this converter will produce average output power which is positive. That means power will flow only from source to the load. This topology has no capacity or capability of having regenerative braking. Thank you.